Have you ever wondered why we do the things we do and how our minds influence our actions? Welcome to the intriguing world of psychology, the study of the mind and behavior. Every day, our actions, our reactions, our desires and our dreams are shaped by the intricate workings of our minds. By understanding our minds, we can harness their power to live fuller, more meaningful lives. Today, we'll dive into one fascinating fact about psychology that might just change your perspective. Did you know that the human mind has a tendency to remember uncompleted or interrupted tasks better than completed ones? Welcome to the fascinating world of the human mind, where the unexpected often becomes the norm. Today, we delve into a psychological phenomenon known as the Zeigarnik effect. Named after its discoverer, Zeigarnik, a Russian psychologist, this effect highlights a peculiar characteristic of our minds. Imagine you're working on a complex puzzle. You spend hours on it, but you're not able to complete it. You put it aside, intending to return later. But here's where it gets interesting. Your brain doesn't simply forget about the puzzle. In fact, it remembers it far more vividly than a puzzle you've already solved. This is the Zeigarnik effect in action. How can understanding this psychological fact help us become more motivated and productive? Picture this. You're in the middle of a challenging puzzle and you've got to step away. What happens? Your mind keeps whirring, turning the problem over and over, even when you're not consciously focusing on it. This is the Zeigarnik effect in action. It's a psychological phenomenon that suggests our brains are wired to remember unfinished tasks better than completed ones. So how can we harness this effect to our advantage? Well, the Zeigarnik effect can be a powerful tool for motivation. Let's delve into how it works to ignite that spark of productivity within us. Imagine you're standing at the bottom of a mountain, looking up at the peak. It seems daunting, right? Almost impossible. But once you take that first step, the journey becomes more manageable. Suddenly, the peak doesn't seem so far away. The Zeigarnik effect is similar. The moment you start a task, even with the smallest action, your brain latches onto it, turning it over and over until it's completed. So starting is the key. We often procrastinate because the task at hand seems overwhelming. But by breaking it down into smaller, manageable tasks and starting with the first one, we can trick our brain into getting into the completion mode. By doing this, we're essentially using the Zeigarnik effect as a motivation tool. And it's not just about starting, it's also about taking breaks. When we're stuck on a problem, taking a break can allow our subconscious mind to continue working on the problem thanks to the Zeigarnik effect. So, when we return to the task, we often find that we're able to approach it with a fresh perspective and new ideas. Harnessing the power of the Zeigarnik effect can indeed transform our lives. But how exactly can we do that? To answer this question, we have to dive deeper into the practical application of this psychological phenomenon. But before we do that, let's take a moment to appreciate the profound impact understanding our brain can have on our motivation and productivity. Now that we know about this, how can we practically apply the Zeigarnik effect in our everyday lives? Let's delve into an exploration of how we can harness the power of the Zeigarnik effect to boost our productivity and motivation. The first step on this journey: start your tasks. Yep, you heard it right. The very act of starting a task, even if we don't finish it right away, creates a mental itch that our brains are wired to scratch. It's like leaving a story half told. Our minds naturally want to know the end. So, instead of procrastinating, just start. Consider the project you've been putting off. Rather than waiting for the perfect time or the perfect mood, just dive in. Even if you only spend 5 minutes on it, you've set the wheels in motion, and your brain, in its quest for completion, will be more likely to motivate you to return to the task. Next, let's talk about big tasks. We all know them, those daunting challenges that seem too big to tackle. The trick: break them down into smaller, more manageable tasks. Each small task you complete will give you a sense of accomplishment and drive you to continue. It's like climbing a mountain. You don't focus on reaching the peak from the get-go. Instead, you set smaller goals, like reaching the next ledge or the next camp. Every step forward is progress, and your brain will itch to keep going thanks to the Zeigarnik effect. Finally, use reminders. They are a powerful tool to exploit the brain's tendency to remember unfinished tasks. Set reminders for your tasks, and you'll find yourself compelled to complete them. They act as triggers, nudging your brain and reminding it of the unfinished task. It's like having a friend who keeps reminding you of the book you started reading but never finished. Sooner or later, you're going to want to pick up that book and finish it. Applying the Zeigarnik effect isn't about tricking your brain, but about understanding how it works and using that knowledge to your advantage. It's about stepping into the driver's seat of your mind and steering it in the direction you want to go. By using these tips, you're not just improving your productivity, you're also taking control of your mind. Remember, your mind is a powerful tool, and with the right knowledge, you can harness its power to create the life you want. We've learned a lot today, but what's the key takeaway from all of this? Let's take a moment to reflect on the journey we've taken together. We started with a simple yet provocative question, leading us into the fascinating world of psychology. We delved into the depths of the Zeigarnik effect, a psychological phenomenon that nudges our minds to complete unfinished tasks, a constant reminder of our unmet goals. We explored how this effect influences our lives daily, subtly pulling the strings behind our actions and decisions. But more importantly, we discovered how we can harness this effect to our advantage. By leaving tasks intentionally incomplete, we can boost our motivation and productivity, turning the Zeigarnik effect from a nagging whisper into a powerful ally. So, what's next? The ball is in your court. Remember, your mind is a powerful tool. By understanding how it works, you can make it work for you. Harness the power of the Zeigarnik effect and take control of your life.